This field represents big moments, big challenges, and the need for a team you can trust.
At Holloway and Hulling, we understand what's at stake. We are your advocates in Missoula and Western Montana.
We provide clear, result-driven counsel for criminal defense and personal injury cases.
Our new downtown office is where we turn that strategy into action.
Holloway and Hulling, your advocates for justice and a proud Griz sponsor.
Thinking about selling your home in Missoula? Here's the truth. Buyers are still out there, but they're being picky. That means how you market your home matters more than ever. I'm Ty Hobbs with Hobbs Homes at Keller Williams, and my job is to make sure your listing stands out. From strategic pricing to professional marketing, stunning photography, and targeted advertising, I'll position your home to attract the right buyers and get you the best price possible. In today's market, it's not just about putting a sign in the yard, it's about telling your home story, creating urgency, and negotiating every dollar in your favor. If you've been on the fence about selling, now's the time to talk strategy. Let's see what your home could sell for and how we can make it happen.
Well, the kids say I didn't have this on my bingo card. I didn't have that Andrew Schmidt and I would start doing a podcast together, and he would actually be the most well-prepared and the guy that does the most prep in the entire organization of Skyline Sports. So congratulations. Full-time lawyer and now full-time podcast host, I guess.
Yeah, once you start giving money to me, I'm gonna put my whole effort in. So
he got paid in the Apple Cash. He doesn't have to show it to his wife. We're rolling, baby. Let's go.
That's right. Go straight into the fun fund. And yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Well, thank you to Holloway and Hulling for providing Andrew with his fund money and for his house that is on fire. So this is for those, there's a lot of people that do know what this is behind you, but there's others that probably don't.
Yeah.
So explain yourself today, Stu.
Yeah, this is fine meme with the dog sitting in the burning house, and he's like, this, everything's okay. This is fine. That's me as my Griz fandom at the moment, and we'll get into why in a little bit, but I guess we could start with the game and kind of why that is.
Okay, so first of all, explain this dynamic to me.
Oh, do you hear my dogs? Do you hear them barking?
Yeah.
This is live potting. Hold on. Let me close my door. This is fun. I have two Pomeranians. Okay?
Oh, man.
And they bark at the mailman. So
only special type of people with multiple children have also multiple dogs. Good for you.
Small dogs too.
Hey, man.
At that.
You and your wife are patient beyond belief.
Crazy. Do I look like I'm falling apart? Look at this beard. That's part of the reason for this background. Yeah, I'm hanging on by a thread, Colter. But yeah, let's talk about the game.
Okay, so explain this dynamic to me. Why is it that there is this common thread when Montana plays seemingly overmatched teams in which they look completely stagnant and stuck in the mud in the first half, but then they make these seemingly perfect or almost perfect adjustments and then run away in the second half? Is this like a tactful thing?
I don't know. Well, I know probably like all coaches, the first drive or two is probably scripted.
Sure.
Which, if you don't know what that means, guys, offense coordinators, defensive coordinators, but usually offense coordinators, they'll script out a play. So they'll be like, on 1st and 10, first play of the game, we're running inside zone to the right. And then we anticipate we're going to be in second and medium. So our next play is going to be, an out route to the slot receiver. And then we anticipate either a first down. If it's a first down, we're going to run this play. And they script like a whole drive.
This is why you see touchdown drives in the NFL so often. Because they're
right,
on the first drive, right? Like the script is great, and then the other team adjusts really quick, and then you don't see any touchdowns for the whole next.
Yeah, and it's based off of what the other team does poorly. So it's like, hey, they don't do well on, they run cover 3 here in this instance most of the time, so we're going to run our cover 3 beater on this play, and then get them into what we think they're going to do next, and that's why opening drives are pretty successful. So I think. Their first drive was scripted. They get all the way down. They get stuffed on 4th down. Now they're off the script. I was looking at this and I was texting. I always talk about texting the group chat, but that game was probably close to being a runaway. if the Grizz did the little things right. And they didn't do the little things right. But if they say they don't get stopped on 4th down on that first drive, say they don't throw that interception in the red zone, say they don't fumble the ball from the Cal Poly 25 on an ill-advised reverse to someone who seemingly can't catch the ball. Say out of the 4 third and shorts that they ran slants on, that they dropped all 4, say they catch those 4 and the drive continues. What do you think the score of that game is? It's 28-9. What do you think? They get 2 more touchdowns minimum, so a minimum 42-9.
Yeah, I thought
49-9.
I thought that, like, last year, it's so funny because Bobby Hauck does actually tell a lot of truth. You just have to listen really carefully in his sound bites. He said in the pre-game press conference leading up to it, he said, although we won 42-7 last year, we really struggled with what they showed us pre-snap and reading whether it was going to be zone or man in the coverage scheme. But they broke the game open last year because of the Junior Bergen long touchdown on the punt return, and because they did hit on a couple of the big plays. Like when they did read man or zone, they called the right play and they hit a couple of those. I agree with you. I think if you take away 4 to 5 mistakes in the first half, the Grizz win that game 45-9 or 49-9. And there is none of this scuttle about like what the hell's happening on homecoming.
Well, and that's the problem, and is not that like this could have been a blowout, okay? But the issue in my mind is that you didn't do the little things right against an inferior opponent. And fine, learning experience, right? Hopefully you get better. Hopefully you move on, and don't make the same mistakes again. If you make those mistakes against a good team, you're gonna lose. Like you can't do that against the Cats. You can't even do that against Sac State probably. So like if you do that, if you do those little things wrong, you're gonna get beat. You're gonna get snake bit a game. And based on kind of the polling and where we're at, can't really afford to drop one if you want home field advantage. And so that's an issue. It is clearly an issue, and I don't feel great about that win.
At Holloway and Hulling, we deliver the results that Grizz fans deserve. If you've been charged with a criminal offense or a DUI, we will fight to defend your rights.
If you've been injured in an accident, we have the offense to get you the compensation you deserve.
Choose the right team. Choose Holloway and Hulling for proven criminal defense and personal injury legal services, a proud partner of Grizzly Athletics. Visit us soon at our new downtown location or check out our website for more information.
But by the way, little aside, guys, when it comes to polls, this isn't a official Schmidt storm, okay? But I grew up in Bozeman, okay? And we'd go to Yellowstone National Park a lot. And there's signs everywhere that say, don't feed the animals, okay? Reason being is if you feed those animals, they're going to want more of your food, and they're going to go up to humans and ask for food. It's the same thing with Craig Haley and Sam Herder, all right? Do not feed those animals, all right, with their polling. Their polling is the absolute shits. But all they're trying to do is get a reaction out of you guys. And if you give a reaction to them, you are feeding that animal, okay? So do not feed those animals.
The most amazing part about this is that Craig, I don't actually know if he's conscious to this or oblivious to this or if he even cares, but Sam, quarterly, he tweets out the analytics of his stories and his social media posts saying which fans he gets the most engagement from. And it is Montana at the top of the list every single time.
Yeah.
And 75% of those engagements are Montana people being like, well, you're wrong. Why are you doing this?
The polling.
This is
guys,
the tactic. It's the tactic.
Yeah, we are recording this, so you guys know, on Wednesday it is currently 10:33 a.m. The FCS Playoff Committee is going to release their rankings in an hour and 26 minutes now, okay? Those are what matter. They're going to release them on the 15th today, and they're going to release them on, November 2nd, I think, something like that. And then the selection show, they're only doing it twice. So those are what matters. Craig Haley, old Craigo, his poll is essentially worthless. He's just trying to get your attention. Sam Herder's just trying to get your attention, okay? What matters, all right, is there's Today's October 15th. All right. None of these polls matter at the moment because as the season plays out, all right, on October 25th, North Dakota State plays at South Dakota State. Okay. They're number 1 and number 2. Someone's going to lose that game. There's no ties in college football. Okay. On November 8th, North Dakota State plays at University of North Dakota. North Dakota's a good team. All right. On November 15th, UC Davis plays at Bozeman. On November 22nd, South Dakota State plays at North Dakota. North Dakota has 2 home games against those 2 teams. And Bozeman plays at Montana on the same day at the same time. Guys, there's going to be no ties in any of those games, okay? It's all going to sort itself out. And if you guys think that Tarleton State playing nobody, even if they go undefeated, they're not going to get a top seed above one of these teams. If Montana goes undefeated and loses to Bozeman, okay, Bozeman will have a higher seed than Tarleton State. I guarantee you. All right. Because they'll have wins against UC Davis and Montana. All right. So like if Montana wins out, they're going to be ranked ahead and they're going to have a top seed. All right. They're going to be 1 or 2 because North Dakota State or South Dakota State is going to have a loss, at least one. All right. And North Dakota could beat both of them. So like this whole getting worked up over these 2 people, like stop. Do not give them attention. Do not give them oxygen. That's what they want from you. Okay. That their polls are shit for a reason. It's to draw engagement. That's what I do. I know this because I'm the guy who shit posts to try to get attention from you people, especially with Cat fans. Like you know it. It's like, you know, a fraud. It takes a fraud to know a fraud. It takes a shit poster to know a shit poster. They are just shit posting you. Just do not pay attention to them. Pay attention to me and this show.
Well, the other thing is you got to understand the way that especially the stats poll has evolved. Used to have 164 voters in it. I used to have a vote. I had a vote when I was with the newspaper. Then I had a vote at Skyline. We had multiple people within the Skyline organization that had votes. Most of the, unbiased journalists that cover teams and cover leagues had votes. Now it's largely like people that work for athletic departments and also people like there's a lot of in-house radio guys that have votes, which that's fine. They watch their team closely, but like, if you're calling the Griz or the Cat game, are you really watching Furman? Are you really watching Fordham, Tarleton State, North Dakota State? Even no, you're not. You're watching the team that you cover. That's it. So
you have a job to do, right? So you're not. You're watching your team. Like that. There's no sense in any of this stuff. Okay, so again, Griz will have a chance. If Griz run the table, they're going to get a top 2 seed. Okay, and look. North Dakota State, South Dakota State, they could both end the season with a loss. Like 1, they play each other, but 2, those games at North Dakota are not going to be easy. Yeah, they're both road games. Okay, so we don't know. We do not know what's going to happen. And like this whole, I'm putting Tarleton State at 3 does not matter. It does not matter right now. What's going to matter is what the playoff committee sees at the end of the year. That's it.
Well, no, and if both Montana and Montana State just take care of business like they could and should, the brawl will just be for, at the very least, the 2 seed, if not the 1 seed. But the 1 and the 2 seed are the exact same because you just get to be at home until you go play a neutral site against the other side of the bracket.
Yeah. So, all it means is you get a home game against one of the Dakota schools, probably.
That's right. So, which is a big deal because especially North Dakota State, because James Mass is the only team that ever has gone to Fargo and won. Everybody else there loses. So
right. So like again, but we'll see what happens there. There is no sense in worrying about it now. So like even if this is a performance that I'm concerned about against the Cal Poly, I don't give a shit if Craig Haley puts us at 25. Like, I don't care if he doesn't rank Montana. His opinion doesn't mean jack shit. So, I'm not too worried about that. I'm worried about, can the Griz get better each week, and can they avoid these mistakes against teams that they should put away pretty quickly?
The reason that the rankings drive me a little bit crazy, though, is that when a game happens between teams that are ranked, then that gets counted as this quality win, even though that actually might not be the case in terms of what you're seeing. Like, for example, in my personal opinion, I have now seen Idaho 4 times, including once live and in person. I've seen Northern Arizona 4 times, never in person, but I watched very closely when they were playing against the Cats. And I've seen Cal Poly twice, including once live and in person. To me, Cal Poly is slightly better than Northern Arizona, and they're better. They're way better than Idaho.
Yeah,
I thought there was 5 guys on Cal Poly's defense that were legitimately good. I thought 44 Mike D'Amato was one of the best linebackers I've seen, man. I thought him and Isaiah King.
He was all over the place.
I mean, he's all over the place, man. Like that, he would play at Montana. Like even with Montana stack linebackers, that guy would play. So I wonder too if that's part of it. I mean, Bobby has said this too. He said that there's been a couple times when the other team's coaching staffs have basically run a bunch of stuff that they had never seen before. And I think that that's part of like when you're an underdog, you're playing at Washington Grizz, like you're going to kind of let it all hang out. So there is sort of an adjustment point that happens in a game. Idaho ran exactly what Montana thought they were going to run, and Montana just strangled them to death and controlled the game from start to finish. So I guess there's a lot of nuances in these.
Yeah, I mean, Montana has 2 ranked wins, and right now that Idaho ranked win doesn't look good at all, right? The North Dakota one looks good, but it's because the dog ass Vandals are ass. Like they are ass.
I mean, hard to say that they're not. 49 points at home to Northern Colorado. No, come on.
Yeah, man. That's bad, and I feel bad for the Tubs of the club people. Well, actually, I kind of don't, but like that, we're not concerned about FCS play. Is forever funny now for this season.
Oh my gosh!
but but like that's bad. But yeah, I mean, Cal Poly could be a good team at the end of the year. I think Paul Wolf, right? That's their coach, right? Has got them in the right direction. And kind of, I mean, he was always a thorn in our side at Eastern. I mean, I think he does a good job and he knows what he's doing. So that could be a good win at the end of the year. Idaho, obviously not, but I know that at the end of the year right now, projecting it in the year, I think UC Davis will be a good team. I think Katzert will be a good team. I think Montana will be a good team. And I think University of North Dakota, even if they drop these 2 games against the top 2 teams in the nation, I still think they're pretty, like they had some legit guys on their team, especially that corner 22 who was a stud. So if they see healthy and if they win one of those games, I think that's a feather in the cap to Montana.
Cal Poly's on a bye this week. They got the Cats coming to town. If they could figure out a way to spring that upset, that would be big time for both them and the Grizz, honestly.
It depends if they get that defensive lineman back who didn't play against Montana.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, if they had that guy, I think they have a pretty good – I think they should be able to slow down the Cat running game, which is, their lifeblood.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the dudes on offense to keep up and score enough points, but they should be able to hang in there a little bit better if they have their guys back.
Well, and even if they lose to the Cats, but then they got Portland State, Idaho State, Northern Arizona, Eastern Washington. So they could totally win 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4 down the stretch. And then you're sitting there as a 7-5 team, which I think that's progress if you're Cal Poly. I mean, they've won like a couple games total the last couple of years. So I don't know. I was sort of impressed with Cal Poly. I thought they were decently good.
Yeah. I good on the Mustangs. And by the way, I was listening to the Grizz fan pod, and Luke mentioned why would you go to Cal Poly if you were a good player and whatnot. I can answer this though a little bit. Have you guys been to Cal Poly? Have you been to San Luis Obispo?
Is dope.
It's awesome. It is awesome.
The question is, like, if you say, why would you go to Weber or Idaho State or Eastern Washington if you could go to Montana? That's an easy answer. Why would you go to San Luis Obispo? Well, because there's breweries and wineries and there's mountains and the beach. It's one of the best places in the world.
You're like right at Pismo Beach is like right down the road, and then the mountains are right there, and then there's vineyards like right driving into town. Like it's like right on that hill. Like it's an incredible. I think the setting there is awesome. I would go there if
first time I went there was in 2014, and I had heard so much about it, so I scheduled an 8-day trip. And I went there and I hung out for 7 days before I covered the game, and it was glorious. It was one of the best trips I've ever been on in my life.
Yeah, you can go down to wine country. You can go up to San Francisco. You could you're in the middle of the state. It's an awesome place. Yeah. So that's why.
And also the premier education. There's a lot of factors. Cal Poly should be good, honestly. I mean, now that they got this huge donation from John Madden, I wonder if that's what made their roster jump, because they're the triple option team that was always pretty solid. And then they went through this whole transition. And then Bo Baldwin left them in the dust and said, screw you, I'm going back to the Pac-12 or whatever. And that really cratered them. And then Wolf has got it sort of kind of building. But you wonder if the fact they got a $60 million donation and they're built new facilities, if that helped them get better talent.
Doesn't hurt, right?
Doesn't hurt. Yeah, I got.
Hello, my name is Kelly Ayat, quarterback at the University of Mount Tampa. In the off-season, it's important to do everything you can to prepare for the season. In high school, that means funding your program. In my experience, Vertical Raise is the ultimate online fundraiser platform. Now broaden your reach of your fundraiser and bring in more money than other platforms. And there are no sneaky or hidden fees like other companies. If you're trying to raise money for your program, reach out to Vertical Raise today.
Yeah, I got something I want to talk to you about. So there was the big number 90 D tackle for Cal Poly with the long Thor hair, got the fumble recovery, and he's rumbling, stumbling, bumbling down the sidelines. And I thought he was pretty good. And he's their second best guy. Ethan Rodriguez, number 60, is, I mean, Bobby Houck said at least the best interior defensive lineman in the conference. I saw that last year when I was watching film on Elijah Ponder, and 60 keeps popping up into the screen. Then you had 97 Colton Schmidt, the kid from Idaho State, the week before. Over the last couple of weeks, you've seen Paul Brott, Alec Eckert, Dom Solano, and Talon Marsh get sacks for the Cats as interior defensive linemen. I thought that the Ho Ching kid from Northern Arizona was a guy that popped when you're watching him against the Cats. That's 7 guys I just named that are better interior defensive guys than the Griz have. And the Griz have been talking forever. We have this guy Alex Gubber, but those guys are unicorns. You can only find them every once in a while. But yet the fan base is sitting over here talking about, like, why don't you just go recruit the kid from Idaho State, get him to Michael Wortham and come over to Montana? It's frustrating to me to watch, and it's sort of inexplicable. You're like, okay, if you're going to sit over here and say you can't get these guys, but then you're playing against these guys like weekly against like average ass Big Sky teams, I don't know. It just seems like there's a disconnect there.
You're kind of leading me right into this. Yeah, let's just do it.
Schmitstorm.
That's a new one. Oh my gosh. In-state recruiting, Colter. That's what's bothering me today. All right. There was a time, and this actually came to my attention because of the recent Sentinel kid who committed to the Cats.
Cade Robinson committed, I guess, 2 days ago now. He's a Missoula Sentinel guy. His father, Casey Robinson, played for the Grizzlies in the mid-'90s, and his uncle Corey played at Montana State.
Yeah, I want to say this isn't about the Cats so much, and I know their fans probably will think this is about them. This is about the Griz in general and their recruiting strategy since Bobby came back, I would say. So there was a time when Montana would dominate in-state recruiting. Okay, we'll play a little trivia time. Colter, do you know what was the winningest class in Montana history?
I do, because it's my high school class.
All right,
it was the class of 2005, and
okay,
they came in, and those guys. I mean, those are some of my best friends in the world, and I remember it definitively because it was such an interesting experience. Because basically every guy that I played in the Shrine game with that went to Montana, they all redshirted. Like the only true freshman that played that year was Brandon Fisher, and he wasn't a Montana guy. So there's all these dudes. I'm sitting over here living in Jesse Hall, but I'm creeping over to Craig all the time because that's where the Palmers and Shan Schillinger and all these guys were, hanging out. Austin Mullins and Sean Lebsock and all these guys, and they all redshirted together, and then they all sort of made their way, and that class went 31-1 in Big Sky Conference.
Yeah, let me actually it's 36-3, but not including their redshirt year.
Sure.
Okay. So, but for all time, they were 59-10 all time, and they were 36-3 in the Big Sky. Okay. I have right here in front of me, I'm lacking fart noises. Poop Town. I apologize. Uh, I have the Shrine Game roster from 2005 right here in front of me. I'm probably missing some people, but I can tell you right off the top of my head the guys I recognize. Okay, that were both Grizz and Cats. Kevin Clabo, Sean Lebsock, Jackson Ledgerwood, Mark Mariani, Austin Mullins, Shan Schillinger, Brandon Utterback, Andy Barham, who committed and then decided to play baseball. Dan Bowden, Chris Dyke, Jace Palmer, Ty Palmer. Okay, those were the Grizz that I remember. Okay, Cats, Chase Gazzaro, Derek Green, Joe Schreibeis, Dane Fletcher, Brandon Offenbacher. Okay, that's 12-5 in-state in terms of commits. That right off the top of my head. Do you know what the second winningest class in Montana history was?
Probably the one right before it.
It was the one right before. It was my class.
Yeah.
We were 57-12 all time and 34-4 in the Big Sky. You want to see those Shrine Game rosters? Here, I'll list them off. Colt Anderson, Dan Carpenter, Carl Pitcher, Tori Thomas, Ryan Bagley, Rob Schulte, me, Tom Martin, Corey Bierman, Jesse Carlson, Colin Dow, and Gabe Brown.
And not to mention Mike Farrader, who should have been in the Shrine Game too, because he was an awesome player at Helena High.
Yeah. And Tyler Corwin wasn't in the game either.
Right. Also was a multi-year starter.
The multi-year starter. Cats, Tiger Harris, Toby Rundle, Tyler Bolton, Chris Smith. It's 12-4. Okay? What the fuck happened to Montana and in-state recruiting? Now, I am hearing a bunch of different things. And for one thing, that when the kid did the interview with Sean, he said, they train you up and they make you really good. They don't bring guys from the transfer portal. That's the exact opposite as what the Cats did before in my class. Okay.
That's the craziest part, dude, is that what the Grizz used to do is what the Cats are doing now, and what the Cats used to do are what the Grizz are doing now. That part blows my mind.
Correct. And Kramer would always bring in junior college guys or transfers, stuff like that, to try to fill out his roster. Now the Grizz are doing that. Okay. He also said it made him feel like family. Okay. Which kind of bothers me. Now, from what I understand from sources that I've talked to, this isn't an isolated incident, okay? I hear this multiple times. This guy has or Grizz parents or relatives, and the Grizz did not even pay attention to him, okay? I don't know if that's the exact thing that happened with this particular kid. I don't want to, as a kid, I don't want to jump to conclusions here. However, same thing happened probably with Nate Dolan's son, probably a bunch of other Missoula kids that have Grizz connections, okay? The Grizz, for whatever reason, now are not even trying. It's one thing to go up against the Cats for a recruiting battle and lose. It's another thing to not even try. And to not try is absolute horseshit by the recruiting staff for the Grizz. And there's another thing that I've been hearing is they'll have a kid that they don't get, and people will ask them, what the hell happened here? And they'll say something like, don't you think we know better since they're in his backyard? Clearly, you don't fucking know better. Okay? Look at the Cats roster of the guys that are all state or all conference players.
Right.
Okay? Look at them. Tommy Malott was from Butte. Okay? Right. Greeby was from Millstone, right? Paul Brott's from Billings.
Right.
Taco Deller, also from Billings, right?
Here's a statistic for you. Last season, there was 8 guys that are natives of Montana that were first team All Big Sky. 7 of those guys played at Montana State. One of them, Junior Bergen, played at Montana. And the reason the Grizz got him is they lost the recruiting battle for Junior Bergen, and then Jeff Choate left, and Junior Bergen came to the Grizz. Good job by the Grizz to stay in it, but that could have been 8 for 8 if things go a different way.
Correct. And a little extra farts. If their premise is, hey, college football has changed, it's easier to recruit guys from the transfer portal that are good players. That's why we're doing it this way. That's what changed from go around number 1. I would offer, how many Bobcats are from Montana that are all conference players that would start for you? All of them. Okay? So this whole we're not going to recruit them because they're not as good is an absolute horseshit, lazy excuse. The whole communication between the players of like, hey, Montana sells itself. We don't even need to recruit you because you'd be dumb not to come here. That's horseshit. Okay, that's like I have a sound. Yeah, wait, hold on.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Yeah, that's a failure to communicate. Yeah, yeah. What the hell? Like you're not even trying with these kids. You're doing the whole
Let them eat cake.
let them eat cake excuse. Like it's lazy. It's lazy recruiting. It's not to the standard of what Montana should be. And I know fans are going to say, well, he's all triggered about the Cats getting these guys. No, I'm triggered about the Grizz not trying.
Right.
And that bothers me to no end. You should never let a kid who has Grizz parents or lineage, like a 95 players kid, go to the Cats. Okay. Not only is it just you need the best players from the state and you should win every best player from the state. You should never let them get a win. It would give me nothing but joy if the Cats couldn't recruit a single fucking player or field a team, right? I would be such a happy guy. But not only are they not letting them do that, they're letting them get every single fucking player in the state that's worth a shit. I guarantee you, if you look at the Shrine Game rosters from the last 5 years, those totals are completely flipped. I guarantee you. And I don't want to hear any more excuses anymore, any more let them eat cake excuses from the staff of why we let this legacy kid go. Like the kid is 6'5", 220. I don't care if you don't use tight ends in the way you think. That's a guy you can work with and make a good player. But the fact that you don't try is bullshit. And they need to fix that in a hurry. Because if they don't, they're going to be stuck in this transfer portal thing, and you're going to be having years like this where they could be a good team and national championship contender, and then years like last year where they have terrible players all over the field because they didn't even recruit all state or all first team all conference guys from the state of Montana. They got like honorable mentions, and now they're starting for us in Big Sky Conference games and getting destroyed. Like the attitude there needs to change with that. And if I see one more kid that's an all-state player that has Grizz lineage going to the Cats, my head's gonna fucking explode. Like, stop it. Like, do your job. That's hold on, I'll do it again. That's this week's Schmidt Storm.
Schmidt Storm.
That's actually, I tried to make it shorter. That's a short sounder.
So to add some context to this, to be fair, on the Grizz side of things, they did win the battle for Cash Gokachia, who's the son of Sean Gokachia, who's a great player on the 95 Grizz. He was a Glacier standout, and he had offered from the Cats, and they out-recruited him. They got him. Grady Walker from Missoula Sentinel, also the Grizz, landed him. His dad, Travis Walker, played for the Grizz in the mid-1990s as well. But on the other side, okay, so I want to present this to you. Sentinel, Dana Oliver's done a great job at Sentinel, former Grizz receiver. And he has turned it into a program very much like Bozeman High has been for years and years. Bozeman High has certainly been fractured a little bit with the existence of Gallatin, and now you got both Bozeman high schools producing D1 guys at a high rate. But Missoula Sentinel has been the place where the guys from Missoula have been going to then come out. And there was, on those state championship teams, I think there was something like 13 total Division I guys between 2019 and 2021, which is a lot for a single high school in Montana. And the Grizz did get 7 of those 13 guys. The Cats got 6. Now, here's where it's this interesting analysis, though, because of those guys that the Grizz got, only Jace Kluswich became like a really good player. Gino Leonard's playing a little bit right now. He had nothing but injuries. And he's like their 6th linebacker, but he does play, and he had a pick last week, and he's a good player, and that's a good guy to get. You don't want to not get that guy if you're the Grizz. But then the guys that have gone to Montana State, from Rylan Ort, who was first team all-conference last year, and, he basically wrecked the Grizz in the Cat Grizz game and then openly talked about how he wanted to be a Grizz his whole life, and his dad played for the Grizz, and it gave him nothing but pleasure to beat the Grizz in his final rivalry game. To then Adam Jones, who was an All-American as a freshman a year ago. Zach Cruz, I know there was a whole bunch of controversy there, but he's still one of the leading pass rushers in the conference right now. Dylan Rollins, I don't think he probably ever had a chance at, because he was going to go to BYU no matter what. And then if he did bounce back. He was going to go to the Cats because his dad played there. But that's a great example. He's not even a starter, but the Cats made sure he didn't get out of their grasp because his dad had played there. And that's like exactly what you're talking about, right? If you have these ins, the other example is Florence, right? I know it's only Class B, but Florence is only 15 miles from Missoula. So those kids are playing Missoula youth football growing up. They're in the same spheres. They're training at Failers. They're doing the same shit as the Missoula high school guys are. And then they win 3 straight Class B championships. They had 5 D1 guys. Guess how many the Griz recruited? None.
0? Yeah.
None. Like, I know Pease went down there and looked at some guys, but they didn't offer any of them. Like, right now, Forrest has got a kid, and I think he's just like a borderline D1 guy, but he's a 6'3", 225-pound tight end who also is a defensive end. This is his numbers as a junior. And I know it's just Class B, but this dude had 19 sacks, 99 tackles, and 41 tackles for loss last year. He's got 14 touchdowns this year. Like, he would go to Montana. If you said, kid, come here and you got to pay your own way, he would be like, that's great, I'm coming. And they didn't recruit him. It just, that part is just like,
where's he going? Did he commit to the Cats too?
Oh, he's going to Montana Tech.
Oh, good. So yeah, I mean, part of that is like my dad was a coach for the Cats from 79 to 83. And then he left.
That's how you guys got to Bozeman, right?
That's how we got to Bozeman. So like the time at the time, okay, I can kind of give you a little backstory, and I've talked about this before. A bunch of us were being recruited by Coach O'Brien, right? And he was a very infectious dude, and like a guy,
coach of the Cats, O'Brien.
And he drove a Harley and he was just really energetic, like infectious. And he got caught possession of meth with intent to distribute and a sting. He was actually on his way to go watch a game between Bozeman High and CMR to watch me and Tanya Bissell and Ryan Bagley and Austin Mullins played in that game.
Royce Polk, Chase Gazzaro, Jeff Hansen. Guys on CMR.
Right. So he was up to that game and decided to make a detour to Townsend to pick up meth, got arrested. And then after that, like the communication between the Cat staff and all the recruits kind of evaporated because he was the recruiting coordinator. I was never meant to be a Griz, okay? They completely dropped the ball on that. They didn't call that much. They did not recruit well. The Griz at the time recruited everyone in the state and called and called and called. They called me every week, right? And to check in how I was doing. Everything. They made me feel like family, which I apparently is not happening anymore.
Who was calling you? Which assistants?
All of them. Like I would get a call from Luther Carr, or I would get a call from Coach Kowalski, or I would get a call from Tom Houck, or they would call me every week. And that wasn't an unusual experience, right? And so they flipped me from guy who's always going to be a Cat to being a Griz because the Griz treated me better. And that story is not unique. Okay. Ryan Bagley had Cat connections, right?
His dad's in the Hall of Fame in Montana.
Yeah. Right. So there's a bunch of guys that had Cat connections that were all flipped because the Griz were a program that not only, it wasn't just Montana was winning championships. Okay. That wasn't just the thing. Because we were kind of at that time we were winning Big Skies every year and we had the streak going. And no one wants to play for, no one wants to be a Met when you can be a Yankee. No one wants to be an Angel when you can be a Dodger. No one wants to be a Clipper when you can be a Laker. Okay. And so the Griz were getting all of the guys in the state worth a damn and making us feel like we were joining the Yankees. Okay. And the Clippers were doing Clipper things, right? Which is what the Cats were doing. Couldn't get out of their own way. And now it seems like the Griz are this, hey, we're the Yankees. You'd be stupid not to come here. And it's like, you actually have to put some effort in, guys. And I'm sure I'm going to get a mean text or a mean call after this episode drops because I know that the coaches listen to this. But I would just tell you, every player that is like joining these Cats is saying the same thing, that you guys are not putting effort in. And that effort is bullshit because it leads to stuff like this. Like we are looking to get the Idaho State D tackle. We're looking to get the Cal Poly D tackle. Well, what exists for the Cats right now? His name's Paul Brody. He's from Billings. Why did you not recruit him 4 years ago? Right? I don't get it. I do not get it. And it's a weird time when they're 6-0 to be laying this out. But this lack of Montana recruiting is garbage.
Yo, Tara, what up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yo.
Nuanez Now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more champions.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up. Yeah.
But again, to be fair, a guy like Paul Brott's not going to go to the Griz because his 2 older brothers played for the Cats. A guy like Kenneth Iden's not going to go to the Griz. His dad played for the Cats. But it's the ones where they don't have those ties that you got to win, right? Look at last year's class. The Griz signed 3 guys from Montana in last year's recruiting class. 3. The Cats signed 10. The guys the guys the Cats signed, Malachi Claunch from Billings West, that used to be a Griz haven. Billings West guys used to always go to the Griz. Carter Curnow from Dillon. Dillon guys used to always go to the Griz. Blake Downing from Malta. They also used to be a haven. Cash Embry from Bozeman, he's probably not worth your time to recruit. That's fine. Let him stay in Bozeman. Luke Oxenhart from Jefferson County, which is Montana City, Boulder, basically. I mean, it probably would have been a battle. Vinny Souza from Billings Central, same deal. Tommy Springman, Gallatin, okay, let him stay. Grant Vegan, of course. That's the irony here, right? The guy they recruited the hardest out of all these guys is Brent Vegan's kid. Grant Vegan's the one that recruited the hardest out of all these guys. But then Ben Winters up in Kalispell, Vaughn Workus, and Helena, those guys, you got to recruit those guys harder.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Colter. I don't know whether or not Paul Brott would have never gone to Montana.
Sure, right.
I don't, because he has the Cat connections. I had Cat connections.
Right, totally.
Bagley had Cat connections.
Right.
Like,
sure.
The reason I went is because they tried. It was not because I saw them as this is the only place I can win championships. It's because they made me feel wanted.
Right.
And it sounds like they're not making recruits in state feel wanted. They're making them feel like, hey, you'd be dumb not to come here. And then not offering or stuff it drives me absolutely up a fucking wall. And it's not that the players go to the Cats. It's when I hear what went wrong, it's either an excuse or it's, well, they didn't think it was any good or they didn't try. Clearly, the winningest class in the Montana history was full of Montana kids. And I don't think that's changed because last year the Cats went to the national championship with a bunch of Montana kids, that you did not get. So put what you guys are doing right now, I'll leave you with this, is very liberal, okay? Very, I want a handout. That's what you're doing in recruiting. You're saying, oh, I'm Montana, you should come here just because I exist. Well, to use the language that I know the staff appreciates, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, okay? And actually do the fucking work, which does not seem to be happening right now. Instead, they're trying to find the next transfer. It's nonsense. And again, it might work out for them this year, but we're going to be plugging holes in the offseason with a million transfers again. And meanwhile, Cats seem like they have a nice solid base for seemingly forever because they get the all-state kids and dominate that in-state recruiting. So I don't know. You tell me. It may work out for the Griz this year. But next year they might suck again. It might be a recap of last year.
Yeah.
And the Cats could end up with multiple 12-win seasons, 11-win seasons, 10-win seasons, just because they have this base, right? And the fact that they're not trying, and I know they're going to say, yeah, we are trying. Clearly not hard enough. Clearly not.
Yeah, the best way to describe this is you look at all the guys that walked out the door that could have been fifth-year seniors on this Griz team. And Jace Kluswich is a good player. Then that was a good get for them. But, his dad and his uncle had both played for the Griz. But that's a great example of a guy you can't let go somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. And, he had 4 picks last year, and he was a part-time starter. And Hank Noose probably would have been a guy that at least played on the defensive line, if not started from Kalispell. But all the rest of those guys that walked out the door, those were all the guys that they had signed from in-state, basically just to say that they had signed some in-state guys so it didn't look like they were glaringly getting their butt whipped. For whatever reason, they only signed 3 guys last year and just basically said we waved the white flag. We didn't try to recruit Montana this year, and that's a crazy optical thing because it's not just the quality of the players; it also it impacts the way that the fan base thinks about you.
Yeah, correct. And this is my second week in a row with a Mad Men reference, I believe. When he walks into that meeting with Dow Chemical, and they didn't want to give him the time of day because he wrote the letter about the cigarettes, and they say, "Hey, we're satisfied. We have 60% market share. We're satisfied with our current marketing agency." And Don Draper says, "Are you? What is happiness? It's a moment before you want more happiness. You're satisfied with 60%? No, you're not. You don't want 60% of anything. You want everything, right? You want it all." And that's not the mentality of the Griz, right? Not in recruiting, not anymore, not anymore. And they should be thinking, I don't want just 3 players. I don't want just 10 players. I want every single player that is worth a shit in the state of Montana. You want it all. And that's not your mentality anymore. It's not. It's clearly not. And again, I don't care if I get yelled at for this. That has been going on since 2.0, and it's lazy and it's bullshit. Like there's no excuse anymore for we didn't get this player that we could have gotten that's now an all Big Sky player. There's no excuse that you could say that, hey, we don't think Montana kids are that good. Clearly wrong. Clearly wrong, because they are playing down the road and they're making national championships and becoming all conference players. So clearly you can use them. So again, stop asking for a handout, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and actually go fucking recruit Montana kids that are worth a shit.
It's the same thing that I have been saying about the enrollment at Montana, period. You got to start right here. Like I've told this to Seth Bodner's face, and I made a whole presentation of this marketing campaign that I wanted to do for the university, saying, okay, you guys want to boost your enrollment? Let's start by making sure that hardly any, if no, kids that go to high school in Missoula and in the Bitterroot leave to go to college in Bozeman or Tech or wherever else. Keep all of the kids that graduate high school in Missoula County and in the Valley County at Montana. You boost enrollment by 1,000 kids.
And I make this joke all the time, right? I always say you only go to Bozeman if you want to learn how to shovel shit at a farm, right? Like that's their number one major is shoveling shit. That's a joke, all right? Their majors are engineering, right, and nursing, right, are their big ones, right? So Montana should have an advantage here with the business school, the liberal arts degrees, because how many fucking engineers and nurses are coming out of the state? I imagine there's a critical mass which you reach where you don't need any more engineers, so to speak, but business owners are a dime a dozen, and you need that education. So why aren't you selling the school to all these people like, hey, if you want to make it in life, all right, you can either try your hand at getting a job as an engineer wherever, which will be difficult, or you can learn to start a business and come to the Gallagher Business School, which is a very good school, and your life is going to be better, right? They don't sell that. And they just, Montana's in a situation now where it's not, again, it's not just recruiting, it's the school itself. Like, you should be able to do this better than you are, and you're not. And I'm tired of the pushback that I think we all get when we say, hey, you're not doing a good job. And it's just an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. Just do your job, sell your school, get kids to come there. Like, this was not hard when I was there. Like, the university sold itself. You just had to do some effort. You had to just put in a little bit of work, and it was like making money hand over fist. All right. But they don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Again, you could just start by just don't let anybody from Missoula or Florence or Hamilton go to Montana State. That would be just a good incremental start, right? Like last year, you're looking at this all conference list. Tommy Malott, okay, I know that there's the engineering draw there at Montana State, but one of his high school coaches is Colt Anderson. And Butte's was a Griz town, at least until Tommy flipped it, right?
Yeah.
So you got to figure out a way to get that guy. You have to figure out a way to get him. Marcus Weir from Billings, 2-time All-American offensive lineman. We've talked about the Griz offensive line forever, and they always talk about how there's not good offensive linemen left in Montana. Well, the guy who was the best offensive lineman in the conference is from Montana, and he played at Montana State last year, right? Mikhail O'Reilly, he's probably not going to go to the Griz. He's a legacy guy. Okay. But Brody Grebe, I mean, Jeff Choate was all over him. I don't know if the Griz were even in the mix with him, but they got Grebe out of a tiny little Class C school, and he became a 3-time All-American. And you can just go on and on. Rylan Nort from Sentinel, dad played for the Griz. Like, it's crazy to really like put it into perspective. Cole Sane grew up in the Bitterroot. He was on the Griz. He was on the Griz, and you thought he was soft, and he left, and then he went and became an all-conference player at Montana State. That's just wild, man.
Again, it's the excuse making and the we know better, you're dumb not to come here is just it's stupid, and it bit the Griz in the ass last year for sure, and it'll continue to do it. Like, you're going to have to strike on all of your transfers, and they're all going to have to be good players. And maybe you figured it out. Maybe this year you had the formula. Not only are you going to do it this year, but in the future, you know which guys to get, right? Maybe you figured it out. I have my doubts, though. I have my doubts, especially because there's a proven concept right down the road for guys that used to be Montana kids. And you don't have time for them anymore. You don't care anymore. And again, it's not about the Cats as much as it's about Montana and what they're doing. And it's maddening. If you can tell, this is probably the longest Schmidt storm we've ever done. It is awful, and it bothers me to no end. And again, we lose another recruiting battle because we didn't put in an effort at all. I'm gonna go crazy. Like, my head's gonna explode. This is why the background is what it is. Like, we're saying it's fine. We're 6-0. We're fine. The house is on fire, so to speak, from the recruiting perspective, right? And it needs to change. They actually have to care.
Is it will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula on Brooks.
Yeah. Well, there's also just the larger institutional issue here when it comes to recruiting students in general. I mean, I know multiple very prestigious former Griz, both academics and athletes, whose kids were not athletes, but that grew up in Missoula or grew up around Western Montana, that didn't get recruited by the Griz, didn't get recruited by the University of Montana to go to school there at all. And they all ended up at either Bozeman. Like, one of them goes to school at Northern Arizona. One of them goes to school at Bozeman. But I know one, I won't name names, but I know one that's a former Griz who played in the NFL, who has done incredibly well when it comes to finance. And he wanted his kids to stay and go to the University of Montana just like him. And the University of Montana didn't try one iota. And his kids went out of state. And guess what? He was like, I'm so embarrassed by this, I'm going to cut my financial donations.
Yeah.
So there's an institutional issue here as well. Okay, I have to go, but just give me one thought about the Griz being 6-0 other than the recruitment.
Yeah, besides that, I mean, I think they're progressing, right? I think they're progressing. They're going to have games like that where it's a little bit hard. But I'm looking at the schedule. They should win this week. That spreads 30.5 points when I saw that it opened. So they should win that week. They should get a lot of kids to play. They need to come out of that healthy. And then they have back-to-back road games, Sac State and Weber State. And that's going to be interesting. One, that Sac State, that game is going to be their Super Bowl, and they're going to try to do everything they can to win. Last week, they had 3 different guys run for over 100 yards. That's a cause for concern, although I think our defense is playing well and can maybe handle that. Weber State is who had the 300 run against them. So if Eli Gilman doesn't run for 200 yards against Weber State, I'll be very disappointed.
Talkin Schmidt, presented by Holloway and Hulling. Holloway and Hulling has more than 40 years experience. We're adjusting that. We said 25 last year, but they've hired some new attorneys there, so they have a lot of help there. Both Nate and Nathan do a great job, and if you need any help when it comes to anything from any form of criminal defense, personal injury, wrongful death, DUI, hit these guys up, montanalawyers.net.
And Nate has a great singing voice. If you ever see him, ask him to sing Ava Maria. He can do it like perfectly. Just tell him I told you that. Yeah, he's like a songbird of our generation.
Gotta love it. Thanks to Holloway and Hulling, and thanks to you. Good talk.
Yeah, we'll see you later.